At least the Ravens didn't take an L on the bye week, right? That's about the only relief we got this past weekend. While the team took some time off, Ravens fans, nah, we were locked in, watching, scoreboard checking, and doing every kind of mental math imaginable to figure out how this season can still be saved. Because even though the odds are stacked, there's still a sliver of hope. It's slim, it's ugly, and it's hanging on by threads, but it's real. And with Lamar Jackson expected back for the Bears game, that hope suddenly feels just a little more alive. Let's not sugarcoat this. The Ravens are ice cold. For straight losses. The last win, that was against Joe Flacco and the Browns. And that's wild because not only is Flacco not even with the Browns anymore, he's out here suiting up for the Bengals and winning. Yeah, we saw that Thursday night game. Bengals beat the Steelers and Flacco looked good. Real good. And as a Ravens fan, watching that hit different. Bittersweet, really. Sweet, because Flacco's out there showing he still has gas in the tank. Bitter, because man, what could have been if Baltimore had given him a better setup all those years ago? It was never about Flacco not being talented. It was about what was, or wasn't, built around him. Once he got Onshu and Bolden, once they paired him with a deep threat like Torrey Smith and threw Jacoby Jones into the mix, he looked elite. He played elite. The problem is, outside of that short window, the Ravens consistently failed to give him true offensive weapons. And watching him now, surrounded by talent in Cincinnati, it's just another reminder of how much was left on the table. Now back to the Steelers-Bengals game. As a Ravens fan, it's always confusing when two divisional rivals go head-to-head. Who do you root for? Do you go with your heart or your head? My heart wanted the Bengals to take that L, badly. Watching Cincinnati lose is one of those small joys in life, especially with how loud their fan base gets, always trying to put Burrow above Lamar like we don't know who the real deal is. But my head, it knew a Steelers loss was better for Baltimore's chances in the AFC North. So hey, shout out to Flacco. Once a Raven, always a Raven, even when he's wearing stripes. Speaking of the division, let's talk about the Browns and Dolphins. That Browns defense is scary, no denying that. And as hard as it is to admit, they're just playing better football right now. Baltimore's sitting in last place in the AFC North. Let that sink in for a second. Below the Browns, below the Bengals, below the Steelers. It's brutal, especially when you see teams all across the league finding ways to stay competitive, even with backup quarterbacks, even with major injuries. Take the 49ers, for example. They were missing key guys, but still got it done. You look at the Vikings, backup QB, and they still push the Eagles to the edge. Meanwhile, the Ravens? Without Lamar, this team hasn't even looked competitive. And that's the most frustrating part. With all the talk about having a super team or a complete roster, it hasn't translated without number 8 on the field. It's like this entire team collapses without him. And now, with the season hanging by a thread, everything rides on these next 2 games, against the Bears and then the Dolphins. The Bears are coming in hot, for wins in a row. Meanwhile, Baltimore's been stuck in reverse. But the bye week might have been just what this team needed. Lamar is coming back. Ronnie Stanley has had time to heal up. Patrick Ricard is expected to make his debut. Roquan Smith is on track to return. And we know what Ricard means to this run game. Derrick Henry has to be grinning ear to ear right now. After these 2 games, the Ravens actually get a mini-bye, thanks to the Thursday night football scheduling. 10 days between games. That could give them an extra reset, another breath of fresh air. If they can find a way to win these next 2, suddenly, 3 wins and 5 losses doesn't sound as hopeless. It's not ideal, far from it, but it's workable, especially in this year's chaotic AFC. Now, there's also the Dolphins situation. Tua threw 3 picks against the Browns and looked off all night. Mike McDaniel even hinted at making some changes if players aren't performing. And guess who just got bumped to second string? That's right, Quinn Ewers. There's a real chance the Ravens might face him instead of Tua, depending on how things shake out. And that adds a whole new layer of intrigue to that game. Defensively, the Ravens know they need help. Eric DeCosta has been sniffing around the market. Pass rush is a mess. The interior defensive line is thin. Injuries have piled up and the Adaf Owa trade left a big hole. They need reinforcements. Who they bring in remains to be seen, but the urgency is definitely there. Now, some people, anonymous execs, of course, have floated the idea of bringing Dean Pease back. And to that, Ravens fans should collectively say, No. Thank you. We've seen that movie before. Bend but don't break defense, soft cushions, prevent first mentality. That's not what this team needs. P's already left his fingerprints on this defense years ago, and right now, it feels like we're still stuck in that same passive mold. Watching teams walk down the field with zero resistance, hoping for a red zone stop, it's maddening. Baltimore's had its share of frustrating defensive coordinators. Wink Martindale blitzed like he was playing Madden with the sliders turned up. Mike Macdonald was the perfect balance, aggressive, smart, and creative. But now with Zach, the defense feels lost, inconsistent, confused. One week they hold a team to under 20. The next they're getting carved up by average QBs. Something has to change. Whether it's scheme, leadership, or just attitude, they've got to find some fire on that side of the ball. That Rams game? Yeah, the defense only gave up 17 points, but it wasn't exactly a masterclass. Missed throws, dropped passes. The Rams beat themselves as much as anything. And seeing what the Rams did to the Jaguars the very next week, it puts things in perspective. If you're bragging about holding a team to 17 while they're clearly off their game, that's not the flex you think it is. The truth is, Baltimore's in a desperate spot. 1 win, 5 losses. No margin for error. The O-line is shaky. The pass rush is inconsistent. And John Harbaugh's loyalty to underperforming players has fans tearing their hair out. Guys like Khalil and Andrew Voorhees continue to get starts despite obvious struggles, while more capable players ride the bench. It's maddening. And it makes you wonder, is Harbaugh willing to make tough calls for the sake of the team, or is he just too loyal to his guys? Because here's the reality. If this team wants to make any sort of playoff push, it has to start in the trenches. You cannot win in December or January with a broken O-line and no pass rush. And fans know that. They're not blind. They see elite teams making adjustments. They see backup QBs succeeding. They see defenses stepping up. And then they look at the Ravens, wasting another year of Lamar Jackson's prime, asking him to be Superman every single week. So now we're at the point where every decision matters. Every rep, every snap, every coaching call. This is the part of the season where the Baltimore Ravens have to decide who they really are. Pretenders or fighters. And look, we've seen this team dig deep before. But what's different now is how much is already broken. This isn't just a few things going wrong here and there. This is foundational. The offensive line, the defensive front, the identity of the team itself. It all feels like it's cracked. Not fully shattered, but definitely on the verge. And when you look at this coaching staff, there's a real question. Do they have the guts to fix it? Fans have been begging for offensive line changes all season long. You've got in-house options like Emory Jones, Corey Bullock, Ben Cleveland. You've got alternatives. Yet, nothing's been done. The loyalty to guys like Khalil and Voorhees, despite their weekly struggles, it's mind-numbing. You've got Lamar Jackson, a generational quarterback, and you're throwing him out there behind a line that leaks more than a broken faucet. That's not strategy, that's negligence. What's frustrating is not just the poor performance, but the refusal to admit there's a problem. It's like the staff is hoping things magically fix themselves. And maybe in the past, that passive approach could squeak out a playoff berth. But not this year. The AFC is too stacked. There's no room for delusion. Harbaugh can't just ride it out this time. If you're serious about a turnaround, it has to start with difficult choices. That includes benching players who just aren't cutting it, no matter how high they were drafted or how many practices they've dominated. And let's not act like this is just an offensive problem. On defense, things are just as concerning. The pass rush is non-existent. After trading Adaf Owa and losing Tavius Robinson to injury, there's no juice off the edge. Offensive lines aren't even chipping anymore. They're sending 5 out in routes with no fear. And that's because the Ravens aren't making them pay. The interior isn't collapsing the pocket either, which means opposing QBs can step up comfortably and dissect the secondary. Eric DeCosta has to make a move. Whether it's for someone like Max Crosby, a long shot but a dream, or a more realistic vet like Calais Campbell, something has to be done. This team cannot survive the second half of the season without reinforcements up front. And yes, Calais would be a safe, classic Ravens move. A guy familiar with the culture, still productive, and respected. But maybe that's the problem. Baltimore keeps going safe. Safe draft picks. Safe trades. Safe rotations. But safe doesn't win in this league anymore. Not when the top teams are bold, aggressive, and constantly adapting. Look around. Kansas City is always retooling. Philly is stacking their trenches. Detroit, of all teams, has figured out how to build a balanced, violent football team. Meanwhile, Baltimore still feels stuck in a formula that worked a decade ago. And every year that passes, they're wasting more and more of Lamar Jackson's prime. You cannot keep treating your franchise quarterback like a get-out-of-jail-free card. You have to protect him. You have to help him. Not just throw him on the field and pray he creates magic with broken protection and questionable play calling. And what about the contracts? That's another part of this mess. The Ravens are paying top dollar to guys who just aren't living up to it. Roquan Smith got paid to be the heart of this defense. And to be fair, he's had flashes. But they've been flashes, not consistency. Outside of that Browns game, he hasn't looked like the same guy. Maybe he's playing through something. Maybe he misses Patrick Queen next to him. Whatever it is, the production hasn't matched the price tag. Then there's Marlon Humphrey. No guaranteed money left on his deal, and he hasn't looked like himself either. Injuries, maybe. But if you're taking up that much cap space, you have to play like it. And Ronnie Stanley? That one hurts the most. Once a cornerstone of the franchise. One of the best left tackles in football. But now, between the injuries and inconsistency, he looks like a shell of who he was. And yet, he's still out there, still locked into that role. Again, loyalty over logic. When fans see that, it's demoralizing. Because it tells them that performance isn't the number one priority, politics is. Relationships are. And this team cannot afford to play favorites right now. This is crisis mode. Every decision has to be about what's best for winning football games, not saving face or avoiding difficult conversations in the locker room. And when you talk about accountability, it's got to start with Harbaugh. Look, he's been around forever. He's got a ring. He's respected. But that respect is running low right now. The product on the field has been unacceptable, and his inability to make real changes is part of why the Ravens are 1-5. He's stubborn. That's not news. We've seen it before, with personnel decisions, with game management, with loyalty to his coaches. But now it's killing this season. And unless he wakes up and starts treating this situation like the emergency it is, it's going to be too late. You're already hearing it from fans. They're checking out. Not because they don't love the team, but because the team doesn't seem to be learning from its mistakes. Every year, the same patterns, same holes, same excuses. And this year, no amount of "we'll get it fixed" press conference quotes will cover up the fact that this team is underachieving in a major way. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. The NFL world is buzzing with whispers after a blockbuster move that could reshape the defensive landscape entirely. Sources close to the league are murmuring that the Baltimore Ravens have secured none other than Khalil Mack, a move that would instantly elevate their front seven into elite territory. While official confirmations are still pending, insiders suggest the deal is virtually done, and the implications are sending shockwaves through teams and fans alike. For years, the Ravens have been known for their ferocious defense, and this rumored acquisition would only cement that reputation. Mack, a perennial Pro Bowler and one of the most feared pass rushers in the league, brings a combination of power, speed, and instincts that can disrupt even the most well-oiled offensive lines. Imagine pairing him with Baltimore's already imposing linebackers and defensive ends. Offenses across the NFL could be in for some long nights. Industry analysts are already speculating about the potential domino effect. With Mack anchoring the line, the Ravens could rotate their front seven in ways few teams can match, keeping opponents off balance and pressuring quarterbacks at every snap. The whispers suggest that the Ravens' defensive coordinator is ecstatic, envisioning blitz packages and stunts that could make Baltimore's defense borderline unstoppable. Fans on social media are in a frenzy, debating how this rumored signing might shift the balance of power in the AFC. Some are calling it a game-changer, while others warn that adding a star of Mack's caliber will come with a hefty price tag, potentially impacting the team's roster flexibility in other areas. Still, the excitement is palpable, with even rival fan bases acknowledging the sheer dominance a front seven featuring Mack could unleash. While the league office remains tight-lipped and the Ravens have yet to make an official announcement, the speculation alone has set the rumor mill ablaze. If this deal indeed goes through, the Baltimore Ravens may very well have constructed the most terrifying defensive front in the NFL. An army that could redefine what it means to pressure a quarterback and control the line of scrimmage. For now, the sports world waits with bated breath, eyes glued to every tweet, report, and insider hint, knowing that if this is true, the Ravens' defense just became a nightmare for the rest of the league. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.